At Close Quarters by Zhou Dedong, I once read a chilling report in the newspaper. Somewhere in the southwest there was a deep, desolate valley called Bloodbath Ravine. On nights deep into the dark, or when thunder and rain lashed down, people often heard terrible sounds from the valley, and some had even seen horrifying shapes moving through it. The reporter interviewed the local Science and Technology Bureau chief and the Tourism Bureau chief, and both said it was true. Then he spoke with people from nearby villages and asked them what exactly they had heard and seen. Some heard the pounding of countless hoofbeats, the whinnying of startled war horses. Some heard soldiers fighting and screaming, along with the clash of swords and spears. Some heard festive gongs and drums. Some heard the wailing of funeral mourners. The reporter found that people with frailer bodies heard the sounds more clearly, while those who were strong heard very little. There was also a local armed police officer who swore he had encountered something similar. One rainy midnight, after finishing his assignment and rushing back to camp, he passed that eerie valley and actually saw a troop of soldiers and horses appear on the bare stone and soil, 5 or 6 of them in all. They wore golden helmets and armor and carried spears that flashed coldly in the dark. He watched them move past from a distance. At the same time, he heard horses snorting and bells rattling. The scene lasted for about half a minute. Some local people who crossed that valley scared their livestock so badly that the animals died when they got home. After that, they rarely went that way. Bloodbath Ravine grew even more barren, even more sinister.
The reporter wanted to go there himself at midnight and experience it, but since no one would go with him, he finally gave up. Geologists tested the soil there and found it contained large amounts of silicon and magnetite ore. One expert told the reporter that certain soils and rocks are like tape recorders and video cameras, capable of playing back sounds and scenes from long ago. Ancient records contain many such strange sounds and apparitions. Although geology and atmospheric conditions were clearly at work, the exact mechanism was still shrouded in mystery and needed further study. After extensive interviews, the reporter ruled out mirages, mass hallucinations, infrasound, and other natural sounds, and reached this conclusion: nature's holographic audio-video recorder. That very day, I slung my pack over my shoulder, bought a train ticket, and set out for that mysterious place.
I am a writer of horror fiction. I should go somewhere like that and test myself, not to investigate, but to experience it. Since I wanted to experience that kind of terror, no one could follow me. I had to go alone. The place was very remote. After getting off the train in the provincial capital, I jolted along on a long-distance bus, then swayed in a donkey cart, and finally reached the village closest to Bloodbath Slope. I found a farm family to put me up for the night, settled in, and asked the host to tell me the way. In the middle of the night, I set out alone and slowly walked toward that place. All around, I could see scattered plants like camel thorn, dim and indistinct. The moon was full, the ground blazed white, and my shadow looked profoundly eerie. When I reached the ravine, I looked around. Not a sound anywhere. The silence was terrifying. I steeled myself and went in. The night sky suddenly seemed to narrow. The stone cliffs on both sides and the dead trees were pitch black. Then, all at once, a fierce wind rose, whipping dust and sand through the air. I looked at my watch. It was a little after midnight. I do not know how long the wind blew. When I lifted my head, I truly saw the ghostly soldiers appear. One of them was riding a tall war horse, holding a bow and arrows, and coming toward me from far away. The wind was so strong that the horse seemed to struggle as it advanced. I stood rooted to the spot. He came closer and closer. I could even see that he seemed to have been wounded in battle, with red blood streaming down his face. He seemed to see me as well. Suddenly he pulled hard on the reins and stopped about 100 meters away, staring at me in silence. According to the scientists, he should have been a dead soldier from ancient times. Thousands of years ago, he had once passed through this valley, perhaps on his way to the battlefield, perhaps just after a crushing defeat. What I saw was only an ancient illusion, and he and I occupied the same space but different times. But then how could he see me? The wind grew more and more violent, and I began to shake uncontrollably. Suddenly he shouted at me in an extremely strange accent. I could hear that his voice was filled with fear as well. "What are you doing here?" Before he had even finished speaking, the horse seemed to be startled. It reared high on its hind legs and gave a long neigh. In an instant, sand and stones flew everywhere. I could hardly keep my eyes open. The man and the horse slowly vanished in the swirling dust and grit. Vanished. On the way back to that kind-hearted farm family's house, I felt a sense of regret. If only he had drawn his bow and shot then and there. As long as the arrowhead had not pierced my heart, then that arrow traveling through time and space would have become important physical evidence. The end.